let's just bulldoze the entire city at this point.
Yeah, that's not how this was supposed to go. This video was supposed to be about building a massive downtown expansion, a new train station, 2 new districts, and the road network to tie it all together. But somewhere along the way, this stopped being a normal build.
The game is trying to beat me, but I will not let it. We are going to win no matter what it takes.
So to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the start. Today, not only are we going to do the biggest expansion we've ever done, we're also going to tear down half of our city trying to save a completely dead economy. Let's jump in. So there's a few things that we need to do, and I've already done one of them, and that was just a bit of grading for spots like these. The difference is roughly half a meter, so all I did was just pull it all the way through. That's really going to make development just that much easier. And now there's just one more important thing that we got to do before we add any roads to this area. We have some of these clear dips right here, and I think they're going to make for a really great future, but also a really great retention pond. But honestly, it's just going to help define the area. It would be way too easy to just send all of these roads all the way down, but then it's just going to end up looking the exact same as everything else. So we're going to use the constant level water source, and there's a few of them around the area. Let's start with this one right here. This height is 545, and we don't want it to fill up past this point, which means we need a height of 544. Let's crank the water sim speed. That's pretty much perfect. Let's do this one over here. It'll be slightly bigger, and I want this pond to pretty much reach this line right here. So let's go 546. We'll set this right in the middle. And that's definitely not as high as I want, so we're going to use the elevation change, and we're going to pull it up a bit. And this is going to be really good because it's going to help influence how we design our grid. Now that we have our lovely water feature, we're going to end up ruining it. And that's because I want to take a 4-lane road and have it run alongside it. Before we do that though, let's figure out where this 4-lane road is going to connect into. And there's really only 2 options. It can connect into Daffodil Street, or it can connect into Main Street. And just based on the angle of Daffodil Street to the water, it's looking like Daffodil Street is going to be our best choice. So we'll make sure constant slope is on. We're going to find the corner of this road, which is right here. We can see it because of the zoning tiles. We're going to set it up 20 units, and we're definitely going to remove the lights and the crosswalks, although the lights here will stay. Now before we continue this road, let's add in the 4-lane road down here, and we just want to stay above this darker black line. To make this easier, let's level this out a little bit. And now let's start by adding in all of our straight segments. And now we're just going to use the continuous curve tool and maneuver our way through. And we'll just soften this up a bit because I didn't mean to do that much terraforming. And now we can see that we have a pretty straightforward connection. We're going to want to curve this road over top of this hill, but actually, looking at what it's doing, I'm starting to believe that a tunnel would be the best decision. And that's because if we tunnel underneath here, we can set up a bridge that goes over the tracks and connects these 2 areas together. So I'm going to make sure that both of these areas are set to the same height, and we'll pull out this top part. We'll make sure constant slope is off. And that looks fairly normal, it's not too bad. It'll need a little bit of work though because it's not orientated towards this road. So this time, let's get our orientation for this road done first. Alright, now please, show me a normal tunnel. Let's use the network tools and see if we can make this even better. So we'll select our starting point and our end point, and that right there is a slope of 7.2%. But if we add a node right here, and then select these points again, that can give us 4.1%, which is much better. And it even looks much better too. Now we just need to flatten out the base of this road, remove some of that ugly looking jank, and we'll slope up to our top point. And for once in my life, a tunnel is looking reasonable. Okay, that looks really good. I like that a lot. Before we continue this road, let's just add on another 4-lane right on the top. And would you look at that? It's pretty much perfect. Okay, I'm getting excited. We'll drop our height back down. Now let's continue this road out to about 6%, and we'll do the exact same thing. We'll make sure our base is leveled out, and then we'll slope up to the top. And now we just have to connect these 2 roads in. And just like that, we have one of our main roads now. The only question I have left is where is this road going? And honestly, what I want to do is disrespect the topography for a second here. I really just want to send this road all the way through. It gives us 0.1%. We'd have to do quite a bit of earthwork, but I'm actually fine with it for once. Now this road is actually just an expressway. It's not a formal highway or an interstate, which means we are going to connect this road directly into it. So first, let's get that close enough. And then we just need to find a spot where there's a decent curve. and I am only just now realizing I didn't buy any of these tiles. We'll buy these 6 tiles. It's going to cost us $118,000 per month and $1 million up front. We're so rich, it doesn't even matter. In fact, I think we have a loan. And yes, we do. It's costing us $144,000 per month. Let's just pay that bad boy off. Even people like me can be fiscally responsible. Now, the only reason why I connected this road in is so that I understand where the snapping point needs to be, because now what we can do is take an alleyway and break these 2 roads and then delete the extra pieces. Then we'll curve these roads into each other. And then finally, we're going to delete the roundabout. What that gives us is one intersection with one set of lights. Now that we have Sycamore Street done, I want to work on this connection right here, and we're just going to extend this all the way down to our main highway. We'll do a nice gentle curve there. So for this side, we're going to need to go across the tracks, which means we're going to need a bridge. But I don't want to go any higher than I have to, so let's just start by flattening out this little section right here. Now because this is flat, we can go up 8.75 meters, and as long as we click on the flat section, we'll get a 0% grade. And I was going to say that we shouldn't have any clearance issues, but it seems like we still have them. That's fine, let's try 10 meters instead, and that's looking perfect. Now we can swap our elevation back down to 0 and curve into our main road. That's pretty much perfect, but I don't like what we have going on down here. So we'll upgrade this section to be a key wall, and then we're going to do a little bit of sloping. Now, bridges are expensive, but if we pull this all the way down, we can get a 0.2% grade, and with the key wall right there, it actually looks pretty nice. Also, because this is so high, we can still run a road through here even with anarchy off. And I don't know if this is just a me thing, but I could easily envision some type of slums or cheaper area, which is sorely needed in Lithia Bay. We'll worry about that later though. Now, I already know that this road is going to transition to an interstate soon. So because of that, I want to try to avoid making any connections on it, which means our best option right now for this road would be to connect it into this main arterial as well. And thankfully, that should be very easy. There's 5.2%. We're going to do a little bit of sloping just to make sure everything's nice and clean. The next obvious connection is going to be Main Street into Pareto Street. And of course, I'm going to remove all of these traffic lights and the crosswalks. It's just not necessary. Sometimes the most realistic thing, and honestly the best thing, is just to pull the road all the way down, and that's going to get way too close to this road. So instead we'll stop right here, and now we'll make 2 connections. And this will be the end of Main Street. It won't go any further. Now we have a really strong foundation for our grid, but I want to take a break for a second. And that's because we need to start thinking about transit. And of course, thanks to the new creator pack, City Stations, we have a few great assets to choose from. So this is the elevated bypass station, this is the city central station, and this is the sunken bypass station. Before we pick an asset, let's talk location. So in Lithia Sands, we have our train station right here, and it does an amazing job serving all of these people. And thanks to the bus route that we had, this is a pretty big error on my part. I accidentally deleted the bus connection from the train station to the bus station. It's not a very far walk, and at this point in time, it would probably operate more like a shuttle, but I still think we should definitely have it. Instead of stopping in one of the bays, we'll stop right here, and then we're just gonna loop all the way back around. And before I forget, I'll make sure to add in the bus stop shelter right here. We'll call this line number 19, Sans BS to Sans TS. Anyways, like I was saying before I got distracted, we need to bring trains into the consideration, and given that this is our government district, I would expect some service. And that leaves us with this spot right here. Now obviously the central train station just isn't going to work, it's way too big. The elevated bypass station doesn't work, which means our only option left is the sunken bypass train station. And so I can preserve some of my future sanity, I am going to just flatten this out for now. And I'll do my best to fix all of that after. But now we're going to get this placed in. We'll take our double train track, we'll turn on ground mode, and we're just going to make that connection for now. That right there is 10%, that's no good. Yeah, it's unfortunately doing a bunch of weird things. Now I've been thinking about this a lot, and we really have 2 problems. The first problem is that the curve on these tracks makes it very difficult to get the sunken bypass train station integrated in a nice natural way. But the second problem is that we have 2 sets of tracks, each of them have 2 lanes, when what we really need is 1 set with 4 lanes. So we're going to start there because I think it's going to be the easiest problem to solve. Starting from this end, we're going to drag all the way down and get rid of all of these extra lanes. And now we're going to take the quad train track, and starting from this side, we're going to upgrade this all the way down. I'm going to end the upgrade right here, and we'll come back at a later date to fix this up. Now we're going to delete this section of tracks, and we will add it back in, but this time we're going to be a lot more conscious of our slope. This should make everything over here much easier. I still have a concern about this section, but I'm going to try and get this in first before I worry about that. We do have a few upgrades, so we have our bus terminal. Let's definitely add that in. We have the island platform. We don't quite need that yet. Same thing with the subway interface, which means we are good to connect this directly into our road. And now honestly, the only thing we're missing is just a bit more parking. We're going to match the same style as what we already have. And I decided to completely rework the parking because it looked awful. I have no idea what I was thinking, but now it's definitely much better. All we need to do is make sure that everything is connected in for the pedestrians. Now we've created a walkable parking lot. Amazing. We're going to make sure that our current line connects down here. And it seems like we're doing some unnecessary crossing, so I just want to fix that. We'll drag this one to be on this stop, and this one to be on this stop. There we go, that's much more reasonable. And then the track will end here, turn around, and continue through the route. Because we built at the train station, there's another really easy connection that I see, and that's from this train station road into Main Street. It's going to help facilitate that connection, and we have 2 pretty big lots here, so let's split these in half. And oh my, what happened down here? This looks awful. We're going to fix this in a second. Before we do that, let's continue this connection all the way down into this road. And I didn't realize that is a massive hill. We want to approach this a bit more gently, but we are going to do a tiny bit of disrespect. This would be a pretty major project, so I don't think it's going to be a big deal. We'll get 6% there. We'll stay flat for a bit, that way we have access to up here. We're going to come back down, and ideally what we're going to have here is a tunnel, so let's flatten out this top part. And I swear tunnels are some of the most finicky things in this game. I'm definitely not going insane. Thankfully, I remembered a tip someone gave me, and that was to do the sloping before creating the tunnel, and I gotta say that made everything a million times easier. Now the main roads on this side are pretty much all built out, so let's focus on this side for a second. And because this side is primarily going to be sprawl or some type of suburban development, we really only need 1 main road, and we're just going to follow the contour line right here in order to get it. So we'll send that down into 90, and then we're just going to follow this darker contour line. Now if I can, I really want to avoid connecting this road into the highway, but that means we need a solution for what to do right here, and my only answer is to pull a connection somewhere from around here. Now we definitely got to improve our visibility. In the future, this will most likely transition into an interchange. I would say most of our main roads are done, which means we're pretty much ready to start building out some of our grids. Let's pull from a few points of interest. So we have our water right here, and we have our main 4-lane road. We'll extend it out, and then we're going to curve from this road into that one, and that connects these 2 areas up. We have our tunnel right here, and we wouldn't want to make a connection into this road until right about here. That's because the tunnel is going to have very low visibility, and we're basically just asking for accidents at that point. Now we have this contour line right here, and even though the grades aren't that bad, I still want to follow it just to make things a little bit more interesting. So just by looking at this, there's really one connection that stands out, and that's from this road into this one. But unfortunately, that means we're going to have to build a tunnel, so I'm just going to quickly do that. And with that, we have our tunnel connection. That is looking really good. Because this will primarily be low density development, our grids are going to be very suburban. And the way I like to tackle this is by grabbing any point, going up about 8 units, and then connecting it into the nearest road. And for now, I will chop off that connection, but the reason why I like doing this is because it gives us roughly 6 units of development, and this could happen on both sides, or it could just be one single house, or it could be a house and some stores. Either way, that's going to give us a lot of wiggle room. So we're just going to go through and we're going to make connection points, and you want to make these every time the road starts to curve a little bit. And because our grid is starting to get a little bit tighter down here, this will be our last one. In fact, we can't use that one, it's too tight. So instead, our grid is going to terminate here. And then maybe what we do is carry a road down. We throw some cul-de-sacs right here. And now I'm going to quickly get all of these roads connected in. Once we have this road in, we just need to take a look at our current grid. And this tunnel is going to be a perfect road to send this through. And then down here, we have this road. It connects closer to our high school. Another perfect candidate to connect in. And now we want to keep most of our traffic off of our main 4-lane. So let's build a grid that's constrained within this plot. And there's a small constraint here with this road. It's currently taking a bunch of land that could be developed. We're going to rework this slightly. This time we're going to make our curve much more gentle. And there we go. Now we have a lot more room to finish out our grid. I can actually see another connection, and that's from this road, which I've always wanted to do something with, and it's going to connect all the way into this road. We want to avoid dumping traffic onto this road. I really want to send a connection into this area. That way we can develop it. I want to follow these flatter parts. We'll curve into here and leave it there for now. And then we're just going to make our way through here, all the way down back to our main road. One connection definitely isn't good enough though. We could pull from this road. So let's try and get all of this aligned. Let's make this section right here elevated. We're going to grab this height again, and we're going to pull that through here. And that's definitely doing some crazy things, but it should give us enough room to run this road through. All right, next thing, we need to fix this crazy road. So let's add a node here and another one right there. And we'll turn both of these into a key wall. And now let's just get a nice gentle curve into our other road. I gotta say though, I'm not really a big fan of the retaining wall. Let's upgrade the road one more time and we'll get rid of it. And we'll just do a little bit of cleanup here. And honestly, the beauty of adding this road in is it justifies our bridge just a little bit more. So we're about to get some buildings in, but I realized there's only one more thing we have to do. We're gonna grab whatever this road is. We're gonna turn off snap to zoning cell length. We'll grab from right here, bring this all the way down, and right in the middle is where we'll upgrade. Now we're just gonna grab our 2-lane road, and we're gonna pull all these connections through. And that gives us a very, very big area to develop. Let's break this into 2. And then just like that right there. For zoning, I want to start by getting some type of focal piece into this area first. Down here we have our stadium. Even further down we have another stadium. On the opposite side we have our waterfront, all of the development, and we're going to need something similar down here. Oh, come on, give us a break. Literally go anywhere else. When I think about it, we have this water feature right here. And I'd really love to find a way to elevate it. It's just most of these skyscrapers are just a bit too tall. But actually, the Bell Creek is kind of nice. Depending on how the terraforming looks, this could be a really good fit for right here. The one thing that I'm worried about here, though, is the height difference between our water and our building. It's not looking too good. There may be a small risk of flooding here, but I think it's fine. What we can do to help alleviate that is to add in a small path here, and we'll increase the elevation to 2.5 meters. That way we get a key wall, and we'll just continue to wrap this around. Now with that done, let's take some of these slab type apartments and we're going to position them so that their back faces the water. We'll try and mix it up by adding in a few different types. Now let's use this suburban 2-lane road with no markings, and we're just going to snap onto the front of each of these buildings. Now this is quite a bit of density, so we're going to have 2 connections. We'll add in a little bit of parking right there. Let's also add in another parking lot right here. I don't know why, but this area right here screams tennis court to me. And of course, we're gonna get rid of those awful decals. And I would say as our temporary focal point, this area does it pretty well. Of course, there's a bit of detailing that needs to happen, but we'll do that when the time is right. We are starting to see some ambulance icons, so let's get this district built out. and that gives us Sunset Peak and Manor Acres. If you have a better name than either of these, as always, comment it below and we'll run a poll. Let's set the hospital to both of these districts, and wow, we only have one patient out of our 700 capacity. We have 0 vehicles in use. This is going to be a very good justification of this massive hospital. Now, since the last video, our unemployment has went down to 11.8%, so it's definitely improving. Although if we don't do something right away for this area, that number is going to skyrocket again. So let's focus this section right here to be a place where you could come work. This will be a small little office district. So let's place the Brunswick Corner building right here. How many jobs does this come with? 123, not too bad. Let's make this office district somewhat walkable. So we're gonna grab our pedestrian street, snap it directly to the side of this building. We'll send that down a bit, and we're also gonna connect it into this road. It looks like we're gonna have to do a bit of grading here. Otherwise, it's just gonna make everything much more difficult. Now we'll send our pedestrian road all the way down, and somewhere in the middle, let's say right here, we'll also make one more connection. And then we'll have our 2 connections into our road, which for some reason creates a stoplight. Now we also have 270 Henny Pin Tower, and this asset just looks amazing. This is a mixed use building though, so we'll have to be careful with our commercial demand, but let's get that placed in right there. And let's see, does the commercial company fill in? Indeed it does, Morello's Cookie Dough. That sounds pretty good right now. Now we have this East Town apartment, and it does have parking in the back, so let's get this placed in on this road instead. We're just gonna make sure to move that over, make it nice and snug with the road, and it needs car access. So we'll take an alleyway, snap it directly to the building, and then just connect it all the way through. We're gonna get rid of all these lights, we don't need them. Same thing with the crosswalks. And to shake things up a bit, what I wanna do is create a pedestrian road that circles around this building. Now in order to do that, we need to get 4 buildings aligned. And now let's delete all of our roads. Using Move It, we'll grab all 4, and we're gonna position this directly beside this building. Now we're gonna grab our pedestrian road, remake that connection, and actually to keep things interesting, let's center these 4 buildings right here. Now we can wrap our pedestrian road around it. That helps us break free of the grid a little bit. So what I can see here is this will be some type of park or pathway, which means we'll get that figured out later. We really only have these 2 areas left to finish off our little office park. I'm pretty much happy with this area. The only thing that I want to do is just add some trees here. That way I can stand to look at this until detailing. And that tree accidentally got on top of the roof. And I was taking a look at the statistics to see how well we were doing, and this area already has 3,000 residents, and half of them are in this building alone. That's kind of crazy considering that we only have 726 jobs available. We clearly need jobs, so we're going to zone a bunch of medium density office within all of these lots. And that was much harder than I thought it'd be. I like how it came out, but still, not being able to zone office in makes it a bit of a challenge. And it's funny because every single company fills in without a doubt. And unfortunately, we don't even have commercial demand, so it's not like we can really add a bunch of stores. But let's test this out. If we place down a gas station, does a company spawn in? Not even a gas station. America's bread and butter. That's just extremely unfortunate. So we're gonna have to stimulate our job market the only way I can think of, and that's with our services, which is also good timing because we have a few hearse icons. And I really do think the Netherlands crematorium can fit pretty much anywhere. The only consideration that we need to make is that we need enough room to upgrade. So I'm looking at this plot right here, and we're gonna have a point of entry, which will be this road. We're gonna turn off our snapping, and we're gonna align this to the back of this road. And now let's add a retaining wall, and we'll do that on both sides. We'll get that nice and flat, and then we just need to make the connection. Let's set this to only operate in these 2 districts. And now we have the extra room to upgrade if we need to, but we also get 30 jobs, which is exactly what we want. Now let's quickly get our schools in, and we were starting to do a bit of Northeastern over here. So I think this is a great opportunity for the Northeastern school, and we're gonna place that in right here. Right beside it, we'll add in some parking. Again, let's make sure to set this to only operate in this district. Next up, we need a high school. And I have a feeling that this modern high school should fit really well right here. And it fits like a glove. We have a few upgrades that we can add on. We will add on the mindfulness room, and we'll set that to operate in only this district. Then we're gonna need a police station. And I really like this lot right here. Let's get rid of this parking. Again, set it to only operate in this district. I'll try and do that for every service. Next up is fire. I want to avoid loading everything onto Main Street. So let's place the Northeastern Fire Headquarters closer to our crematorium. And right beside our police station, let's throw down this community kindergarten. I think it's going to be a really good fit here, and also an amazing amenity for the community. Next up, we have the Ventura City Hall. We're going to place that right here. The important thing being is that I don't want to consider this a city hall, and that's just because we already have one. Right behind it, let's throw the Japanese Health and Welfare Office. I feel like they work really well together, and we're just gonna get all of this connected into our roads. Back down on Main Street, let's add in the Eastern European Welfare Office. We have the Historical Post Office. Let's place that right there. And this has the City Museum upgrade, so let's add that on. And then that looks really good. Let's extend this all the way down. And the rest of this plaza will have to turn into a park. And unfortunately, that's pretty much all of our services. The only one left that I could potentially see would be the Geological Research Center. So short term, let's just place this right here. Actually, let's quickly check in to see how well our road maintenance is doing. It's pretty much perfect. What about our park maintenance? And yeah, that's also really solid. I really wanted commercial here, and then my plan was to run some paths through. So instead, I'll just do that. And then once we finally get commercial demand, we'll come back and fix this area. But on this side, this is the perfect spot for a park. Or maybe not as perfect as I thought. Let's try raising this up a bit. And interestingly, it actually increases the height of this. I didn't know it did that. It seems like the only way we're getting this park in is if we add a retaining wall alongside this road. So let's add in a node right here. And did I say retaining wall? I meant key wall. And then all we have to do is hide the rest with a few trees. Oh wait, our parks actually employ people? Okay, that's interesting to know. It's not like they employ a whole bunch of people, but it's enough to matter. Except for these ones. These ones do not have employees. That's a little bit unfortunate, but we'll deal with it. Now for all of this, I really just want to let everything fill in on its own. So let's try some Southwestern medium density. We'll also mix in a little bit of Netherlands, along with some Northeastern. And I would say most of this is pretty good. It's only some of the buildings down here where it starts to get iffy. And because we really only have residential demand, I'm just going to quickly go in and fill in all of this with residential. Now, whenever we get the demand, I still want to add in a bunch of commercial, which is why I've left some of these spots open. Something I wanted to check was our production. So we are a little bit behind on wood. Grain, chicken, fish, we're doing great. Vegetables, cotton, oil, metal ore, coal, and stone, we're not doing too well. Electronics definitely seems to be a bottleneck here. So let's actually zone out a bunch of industrial. And I really just want to consider this a test, so I'm not going to take this too seriously. Our air blows this way. So we're just going to build out a small grid right here for some industrial. And then we'll follow along here and get that connected in. And now let's plop down a bit of industrial. Of course, we're going to need a bit of parking, so we'll get that in too. Alright, and there is our industrial. I just want to know if making this will improve our economy. In terms of residential, we're solid. It's all green. Everyone loves it. Somehow we even have a low unemployment rate. But for commercial, it's awful. We haven't had commercial demand for a long time. Industrial, again, super strong. Office, it's there, but it's not showing that it's there, which is really weird. And taking a quick look at some of our companies, most of them are profitable. They only just started their business and they're all making a bunch of money. Now with this area temporarily on pause, we're going to swap to Manor Acres. Now before we do any plopping, let's add in a small elementary school. And we want to add this somewhere centralized, so let's say this spot right here. We'll make sure that it only operates in this district. And then for the high school, let's place that right here. Now let's provide a small medical clinic, and we'll do that right over here by Manor Acres. For fire, we will just use this fire station because I doubt it's going to be used. And for post, we'll also assign it to these two districts. And we're also going to use the police station from over here as well. But since we're going to make it do all that extra work, we will add on the 2 upgrades, and we'll also assign it to this district. And we're just going to add a few mailboxes around here. Let's check to see how our telecom is doing. And it's pretty much perfect still, which means all we have left to do is plop in some low density residential. Let's get it done. Now thankfully I was able to zone most of that in. I didn't really have to plop anything, so that's always a big plus. But because I didn't plop it, it definitely looks a little bit off. So my solution is to spray this entire area with trees so that way it feels normal. And it's crazy how much of an improvement just trees alone can make. Now after all of these demand issues, I was this close to throwing in the towel. This close. But I decided to take a step back for a few hours, do anything else other than play CS2, and come back with a new strategy. This was a tiny bit of industrial, but maybe what we need is a bunch more industrial. So this area right here has been carefully selected and chosen, and that's all based on where the wind's blowing. I'm going to flatten it all because at this point in time, I'm declaring war against CS2. I do have one fear, and that fear is when this gets turned into an interstate, how will this still be connected? Actually, wait, we have this road right here. This is pretty much perfect because what we can do is we can pull this all the way down, and then we're going to extend this just straight down. And when this does get turned into an interstate, this road will connect back up with this one, and we'll figure out the rest when the time comes. All right, there we go. Now we have a totally reasonable intersection that's also a supernode. We're going to drop this bad boy down to a 2-lane. Now we're going to use this alley to make a small grid for our industrial. Now we're just going to place some of these manufacturing buildings down. Similar to last time, we're going to give them 1 unit of separation. And last but not least, we just need a little bit of parking. Now with this new industrial area created, we have 2 things to do. First, we're going to give this a district because I want to know how many jobs this is creating. 726, there we go. Second, we're going to go through and remove every single parking fee you should not have to pay to park at work. And like always, anytime I say we need to do 2 things, we actually need to do 3 things. We're going to cover this entire area in concrete because it's just going to look much more nice. And by nice, I mean awful. But it's going to feel a little bit more real. And also, we need to add in some stains. It just sells the area for me a little bit more. And you know what? If we want to go crazy, we could even throw in some garbage. No, I don't want to go crazy. This isn't meant to be crazy. This is just meant to help get our demand back. After a quick crash and 15 minutes of loading, we are back. The game is trying to beat me, but I will not let it. We are going to win, no matter what it takes. Perfect, absolutely beautiful, 718 new jobs created. That puts our unemployment at 7.6%. And of course we have a tornado. Why wouldn't we have a tornado? That's cool. Goodbye, College Town. It's fine though, it's fine. We're moving on to phase 3, or 2, or whatever phase this is, I don't even know at this point. Show me every single vacant commercial building. All right, so there's none down here, there's none down here, there is one right here. It's unfortunate, but we're gonna say goodbye. And before I continue, I should probably take a look at our commercial demand. So we currently have 12 unoccupied buildings, but we have 53 propertyless companies. Our commercial is overproducing in both standard and leisure. So from what I can tell, we're just in a really rough spot, but that's okay, because we're gonna fix this. We're gonna go through and delete every single unoccupied building, and that hurts. Why did it have to be the sporting goods store? This is such an iconic building. I really don't want to, but yeah, I guess we'll get rid of it. Come on, not the conference center. This right here was the first big building that we ever put in. But fine, whatever. Let's take it to the extreme. Goodbye. And really, all 4 of these buildings. Again, that hurts, but sure. Let's just bulldoze the entire city at this point. And here's another one. These are offices, so why are they showing as commercial? Alright, so the place that we just built, we'll bulldoze that too, why not? Honestly, it'd make way more sense if they showed up as red. This right here is the last unoccupied building, which is hilarious because apparently people are going in. It's clearly there's a company here. It's okay, we can just get rid of it, why not? And now we have 0 unoccupied buildings. Will you bring back our commercial demand now? In a previous city, I had the exact same problem. And the only way I was ever able to bring demand back was by bringing the standard and the leisure production capacity all the way down. Which essentially means that we have to go through and delete a whole bunch of commercial. So sure, why not? Let's delete this. And anything that says not enough customers, we're just gonna start deleting. Yeah, right. These two could have not enough customers, but they're never going anywhere. All 3 of our hotels are complaining. This one has 37 out of 400 rented rooms. This one is 38, and this one is 39. What if we just delete 2 of them? And I genuinely do not care. I'm not touching the shopping mall. I only just recently built it, but this one can go. The Walmart is definitely staying, but I guess we can just delete all of these ones. This poor area is just being butchered. We'll get rid of that one and this one. Morrissey's supermarket? How dare you? This would never happen to Morrissey's. Like, just take a look at the pathfinding. You literally have this sedan driving all the way down to Morrissey's. That's how well loved this grocery store is. I'm not deleting it, but we will get rid of that, and I guess this one too. And this right here is also why I hate mixed use. I don't hate mixed use in real life, I hate mixed use in the game. I refuse to delete them though, I refuse. The Bait and Bistro, come on, look at this bad boy. You can't delete the Bait and Bistro. It's a beautiful building. But this is a vanilla building, that one can go. And is it just me, or are there more icons than there was before? It definitely feels like they're all popping up out of nowhere now. It's like every single commercial building in Lithia Bay is just dying. Alright, next plan. We're gonna slowly handle some of these deficits. So we currently have a 102 ton deficit in wood. We do have the extra space over here, so we might as well just start chopping some trees. This building does have dual access, so we might as well make sure we're giving it. And we'll also connect this road down into this one. And then we'll just connect up our forestry building. And we'll get rid of all of these trees because we'll place our own in. Usually I'd put a little bit more love and care into this, but I just want to solve this demand issue. I'm going to let this simulate for a second. It's amazing really, somehow our deficit has went up. This building right here is producing 62 tons of wood, yet our number is not going down. Alright, you know what, it's fine. We can move on to a different problem. For example, our grain. We have a 209 ton deficit in grain, and we can see that most of our land fertility is down here and over here. So how about this? We'll build another farm right here. So we'll have one alongside here and one right there. And now I'm just going to quickly build out their roads, expand their surfaces, and let's see if that helps. Alright, I even threw in a small vegetable farm. We have a 24 ton surplus. Livestock, we're doing good. Fish, we're doing good. We have a 356 ton deficit in vegetables. So let's see, what can vegetables make? It can be used in food or beverages. But livestock can also be used in convenience food, textiles. Which is probably a good thing because we don't grow cotton in Lithia Bay. So our massive surplus in livestock should be covering us for textiles. For our processed goods, there's not really much I can do to influence this other than zone more industrial. Sure, I could have used the change company mod and just change all of their individual companies, but micromanaging every single thing with mods just isn't really fun. But here's what we can do. We can add some more manufacturing along the side of these roads. Will you finally give me commercial demand yet? No. Okay. Aside from deleting every single commercial building, I just don't know. And it seems like not enough customers is only getting worse. We have more buildings than ever showing the icons. It might as well just be every commercial building at this point in time. Let's move into detailing, and we'll try and figure this out next time. This is going to come across as a joke, but I'm 100% serious. We're just going to blast some trees in, and then with a slightly lighter brush, we're going to go through and just delete some of these. And that is detailing. I know that seems crazy, but I've been at this for 10 hours, and I am ready to take a break. So let's jump into a quick before and after. And that's a wrap. I really do hope you enjoyed. Today's shoutouts go to Jake Hill, Gary Key, Middleveen, Michael Mills, Evan Aird, Henry Vopel, and to everyone else supporting the channel. If you want sneak peeks, save file access, exclusive roles on Discord, and much more, you can join us over on Patreon or YouTube. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.